Happy National Game Show Day, y'all! Oh, I'm so excited. My first year getting to celebrate as an alum of a game show, if not one of the most popular and well-known game shows in the country. I'm even repping my little bankrupt shirt, as well as, I don't know if you can see this, but I have a wheel pendant necklace that I bought off of Etsy. I wanted to celebrate National Game Show Day by talking a little bit about my timeline and what that looked like going from submitting an application all the way through to getting my paychecks in the mail. A lot of people ask about like, well, what was the timeline? And I would say from start to finish, it was less than a year. It's a very wild ride, but it truly was less than a year from my first application all the way through to getting that money in the mail. Going to also start this off by saying I applied. This was my fourth year applying. So I started applying back in 2022. And I applied every year. So you have to wait, 12 months after application. So 2022, 2023, 2024, and then 2025. I applied all 4 years. And I made it through various steps of the application and interview process all 4 years. So at least there was some interest. There was never a year where they got my application and was like, absolutely not. So at least I know I was doing something right. The application that got me on the show, I submitted on May 1st of 2025. I was contacted not too long afterwards to schedule my first interview. That was on May 7th of 2025. I got that email telling me to schedule my first interview. I did that first interview and audition on May 13th. So at this point, only about 13 days have passed from my first application to getting my first round interview in. 2 days later, on May 15th, I was contacted again to do my second round audition, which is really exciting, where I was meeting with Shannon, one of the contestant producers, for Wheel of Fortune. We scheduled that second round audition for May 20th of 2025. And then I was just silent for a little bit. Spoiler, I ended up launching 2 stores last year. So very busy time for me. Very, very busy time. So I kind of forgot about the application in all honesty. And for those of you that don't know this story, some of the highlights of my Wheel of Fortune kind of path come attached to some of the lowlights of my professional career. Usually when I was having an extremely rough day at work, or I had a rough day at work, it was met with some pretty exciting and interesting news coming from Wheel of Fortune. So July 28th, I've had a very rough shift. I'm riding the train back home and I get an email saying that I was selected to be a contestant on Wheel of Fortune. And I don't believe it at first because I did kind of think it was a spam email. I'm not going to lie. There were some minor yellow flags about it where I was like, this isn't real. And then once I fully read it and saw the details and saw that it was legitimate, I remember hyperventilating on the train and I'm getting the best email of my life with all these strangers surrounding me, and I can't tell any of them because in that email, it tells you are not to tell a single person that, you've been selected to be on the show. You can't make the announcement until, they tell you can make it. But for me, I was just super excited. And I could not wait to finally make this happen. So I got that email on July 28th, 2025, and it told me I was taping August 28th, 2025. I had a month at the time. My parents are in Ohio and I am working in New Jersey. So we're coordinating, getting hotel rooms. We also wanted to get my grandmother out there as well. So she was also there for the taping. And one of my best friends, Maxon, was there. He lives in California. So those were like my 4 people that were there to see everything happen. So August 28th, 2025, we taped our episodes, and they taped the entire week in a day. So we literally taped the entire tournament. What you saw spread over 5 days was about a 13, 14 hour single day of taping for us. So August 28th, when we started, we had no clue what was going to happen. By the time I walked out of the studio on August 28th, I knew that I won the tournament. And then came the most difficult part, which was not being able to tell anyone. having to hold that secret, not only holding the secret that I was on the show, but what I had done and how well I had performed on the show, um, drove my parents and I batty. At least my parents were living in Ohio, so they could talk to each other about it. I'm just working in New Jersey, right? Finally, on November 11th, think about that. So August 28th, we taped. November 11th is when they finally tell me that I can make the announcement that I'm on Wheel of Fortune. It was so long. It was so rough. There were some rough days there in which I just wanted to spill the beans so bad, but obviously I don't want to risk losing everything that I earned, so you don't say anything. So November 11th, I'm finally able to announce to the world that I'm going to be on Wheel of Fortune. A couple days after that, they finally announced that it's going to be a tournament that's sponsored by DraftKings. And that they're doing that unique bonus round for up to $500,000. There's like press releases and things like that. So then I can announce that there's a tournament. And the fascinating part about this was trying to keep secret the fact that I had made it into the second episode. If you don't follow Wheel of Fortune on social media, I'll show you this video right here. So on Monday, November 24th, we'll post this video. And it's like a incredible hype video for the tournament, right? It's showing all these people spinning the wheel and like clapping and just like being pumped and ready. The problem is a lot of people immediately picked up the fact that I was in the hype video wearing two different sets of clothing. At the very beginning, you can see me sitting in the audience and I'm wearing the burgundy shirt with the gray pants, which is what I'm wearing in my contestant photo that was sent to me to release to the public. But if you look closely, there's a moment in which, I'm at the podium and I'm clapping my hands and I am wearing a bright purple shirt that's long sleeve instead of a short sleeve burgundy shirt. So people started sending me messages and they're immediately like, you made a finale, didn't you? It's like that, you like Krabby Patties, don't you, Squidward? And I'm just trying to like play innocent, keep it cool. But I mean, yeah, they on Monday fully showed that me, Taniqua, and Tony were all in the finale for that Friday episode for the tournament. And there's nothing I can really do about it. So I'm trying to like play up the hype of all this. So the episodes air, right? November 27th is my first episode, that Thursday. So we've already seen 3 days of competition. I'm on that fourth day. And then basically my performance on Thursday is what gets me into the Friday finale to play in the second episode. And then the rest is history. November 28th. I should also mention, so that Thursday was also Thanksgiving. So what an incredible holiday. What an incredible Thanksgiving and a half. November 27th was my first ever episode on Wheel of Fortune. And then Black Friday, November 28th, is me making history as a Wheel of Fortune contestant. So traditionally, in your paperwork, it says your money will come about 120 days after your episodes air. Episodes aired at the end of November. So all of us in the tournament were expecting the checks to come sometime around late March. A lot of the research I've been doing in like the Wheel of Fortune subreddit and the buy a vow boards and things like that, a lot of people were like, if it says 120 days, expect it like 119.5, basically. Like it's going to come right at the very last minute. So, that's kind of what we were expecting. That's what kind of budgeted for. And around this time is when I had made the decision that I wanted to come back home. I was feeling really homesick and really missing community is what I felt like I was missing a lot of while I was out in New Jersey. But it felt like the life I had built and the relationships that mattered most to me were here. And I was depriving those relationships because I had gone out to New Jersey and New York. And I really struggle with I really love working for this company, but I can't manage working with the company and also being so far away from the people I love. So I ultimately made the decision to come back home and be closer with my friends and my family, which was the best decision ever made for my life. But as a part of that, Will decided to send their checks a little early.
I should have known this is how this was going to happen. So for those of you who don't know, I got the news that I was going to be on Wheel of Fortune after one of the roughest shifts I had ever had at work, where I was like questioning my skill set as a general manager and just a lot of like misses on my part. As you can see, it is currently 4:20 in the morning on February 7th. I started work today officially on the clock at 3 p.m. and I'm just now getting home. And so as I walk through the door, I look in the mail and there's a lovely little envelope for me from Wheel of Fortune. And it has one of my checks. So this is the check specifically for my like the airfare and the spending cash for my trip to Thailand. And yeah, I just got a nice little chunk of change already. This is not even like the money from like what I won on the show regularly. This is just the spending cash for the Thailand trip. I would show y'all, but there's some personal stuff. Maybe I can like show you just that corner and not dox myself too much. Dreams do come true. This is so wild. This is really happening. I literally coming home from having another rough day. So many wild things happening at work. And coming home and seeing this at my doorstep was kind of nice. So hope y'all are having a good day, morning, night. I hope y'all are asleep right now. It's 4 a.m. So even if you're on the West Coast, it's still 1 a.m. So go to bed. All of you, go to bed. Oh my God. I just got home and I had seen a couple messages from some other people about this. And honestly, I don't even know if this video will be posted or not. I don't know if this is something I'm going to share or if this just kind of sits in my data banks to remember this moment. But I am holding in my hands, let me make sure I don't dox myself. These are my winnings from Wheel of Fortune. These are my 2 checks. The Thursday episode will have like the, $20,800. And then my Friday episode, which will have I don't even remember, $129,000 something dollars. These are 2 large checks written for me. And I'm really about to open them. I don't believe this is real. I don't believe that this is real. Let me get my glasses. All right. Let's open the first one. I don't know which one's which. All I know is I've never seen this amount of money addressed to me before. This is my Thursday episode. That's a lot of money. So after California taxes are taken out, this one is $19,344 for little old me. And then we still got one more. And this one was so important, they have it taped. I did not notice that the Thursday one was not taped away. This one is. Oh my god. I almost want to use like scissors to open this. Do I have... Hold on one moment. I got some scissors. This is a check in my name for $119,967. I'm shaking. First of all, none of us for DraftKings were even expecting to get these until like late March. So the fact that this is showing up early and this amount is just... Yeah, sorry, I know I'm just like getting quiet. I just don't have words. I'm just so incredibly lucky and thankful. I mean, this allows me to be debt free. As someone who has never seen 5 digits in my bank account, I mean, one check alone, like I said, the first one's already 19,000. And then when you add another 119,000, these just don't feel real. What a wild journey. What an incredibly wild journey. From growing up, watching the show and loving it, to holding not one, but 2 checks in my hand. About $139,000. So thankful. So thankful. So mind you, we were not expecting these checks until late March. It is the middle of February and I am $130,000+ richer all of a sudden. It really changes your life. It is very wild to look at these large checks with your name on them and know that money is entitled to you. And it just was such a wild, incredible, amazing experience. So that is, my timeline of getting on Wheel of Fortune. The application that got me on was submitted May 1st of 2025. And then I got my prize earnings in completion on February 19th of 2026. About a 9-month span of time from start to finish. And that's including like recording, keeping it a secret, airing, waiting for the checks to come in the mail, depositing the checks. Like that was my timeline.
Now, everyone's timeline is a little different when it comes to their experience on the show. So I don't want people taking this video and thinking that, that's what's going to happen for them. Um, it's very well possible some things got to move quicker because of the DraftKings sponsorship and things along those lines. Because from what I can tell and from my research, it is pretty traditional that you don't get your earnings until right around that 120-day mark. So all of us getting, and I mean, I talked to Tony, I talked to Taniqua. Yeah, we all got our checks early, which was like an incredible surprise. So the messaging on like Instagram and Facebook and being like, "Did you get your money?" was such a fun, cool moment to have. So yeah, y'all, that is what my Wheel of Fortune timeline kind of looks like from start to finish. Thanks so much for checking out this video. Again, happy National Game Show Day. I'm also going to take this moment in this video to say something that kind of scares me, but it's also really, really exciting. I am, as a part of, my Wheel of Fortune earnings, I told you all that I've stepped away from my job, and that is because, I have a production company, so Keep It 100 Productions, that I formed a few years ago. And, game shows is my biggest passion in life, and it always has been. And I've always been a creative person that have all the different ideas that they want to see come to life. So I'm taking the biggest chance of my life, and I'm going to produce my own game show. And I am really excited to see this idea come to fruition. I had to erase the dry erase board over my shoulder because it has all the details of the game that I've created. I've been test running the game with some close friends who've been keeping us a secret. I've been in contact with some other people who know what it will take in order to get this to come to life. And my goal is to record some pilot episodes and get it released for you all to see. I'm just really focused on trying to produce a product that I'm really proud of. And I've had so much fun going over painstakingly every single little detail of this show and of this concept. To make sure it's right and make sure that it's fun and it's exciting, that it's something that people will want to play along with at home while they're watching it. Make sure it's something that contestants are really excited to play while they're in the studio. So yeah, I'm producing a game show. I'm going to be doing some different events and different like live streams and things like that. Because obviously this is expensive. So that's kind of the things that I'm going to do to try to offset the cost of like producing my own game show, is doing some live streams, some fundraisers, things like that. So make sure you're following like the Keep It 100 like production, website and Facebook and Instagram, because that's where you see all the details once that's all released. I have a very exciting idea that's connected to Wheel of Fortune that I think people are going to be really excited if I'm able to make it come to fruition. Again, not going to speak on it too much until we get things settled, but I'm really excited for what's to come. So stay tuned, everyone. Thanks for watching this video.